Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to finally tell the story of my hammered 5 motif bracelet from Van Cleef & Arpels, which is right here. And just to share with you guys what the process was like for me, how I went about ordering it, my knowledge of how the process works, and also why did mine take so long? And anything else that I feel is relevant, I will share that with you today. So yeah, this is gonna be just me chit-chatting away. So, maybe just turn this on as like background noise while you're doing something else. But if you're interested to hear all of that, then please keep on watching. Before we get into the video, I always like to introduce myself to those of you who are new here. My name is Kim and I love sharing with you guys all things luxury. I do unboxings, reviews, reveals, and I try to share as many tips and tricks as I can. So if that's something that interests you, I would really appreciate if you could subscribe to my channel. And with that said, let's get right into it. Okay, so the vintage 5 motif hammered bracelet. Oh my goodness, I had to wait so long. So it wasn't 2 years, it was 18 months. However, it felt like forever. And yeah, like I don't think mine was normal. I really don't. But let me get into the background as to why I decided to purchase this, why I decided to go with the boutique instead of pre-loved, because you guys know I love pre-loved. And finally, if I were to do it all over again, would I still do it, even if I knew that the process was going to be so long? Let's start with the background. So this all started actually with my 5 motif in the Onyx. So if you follow me, you know I did have an issue with that. All the stones had gotten foggy and I had to get all of them replaced, and we don't know what happened. I'm pretty sure the price quoted to me was about $250 per stone, and so I would have had to pay a lot to get it all replaced. However, I was lucky enough that they caught me. But anyways, if you guys don't know the story, I'm gonna have that video linked down below for you to watch, maybe after this one. So after all of that happened, I thought to myself, I thought Onyx was the most durable stone that came in the 5 motif. I realized that the only true carefree piece would be an all gold piece. So I decided I really wanted to add an all gold piece to my collection in order for me to wear it all the time without having to worry about it. Now, the first option was the guilloche, which I think is beautiful. However, the fact that the guilloche would have to, endure all the scratches, and I know I'm really, really rough on my pieces. I knew that that was not going to be my #1 pick, and that left me with the hammered. And to be quite honest with you guys, I never really liked it. I didn't think it was beautiful. It looked really antique-y, and I don't know. I just thought like the colorful stones were just so much more prettier. However, as with a lot of other things in luxury, the more you see it, it really grows on you. And some of these pieces can turn from, oh, I hate that so much, to, oh my gosh, I cannot get this out of my head. And the hammered 5 motif was one of those. And so I contacted my SA and I asked him, would it be possible to get myself on a wish list or something? What he told me at the time was that they had done away with waitlists because there were just too many people who were asking for it. Back in 2021, 2022, I feel like the hammered was a lot easier to get. Like, you would just place yourself on the list and most people would get it within 1 to 3 months, at least to my knowledge. However, around, end of 2022, 2023 was when it started to really pick up in popularity. It just seemed like the hammer just kept going like that when they arrived at the boutiques. And so they had made a wait list for it. However, so many people were adding their names to it, they said they couldn't keep up. In any case, he said that there was no wait list and that the way to do it would be to pre-order. So pre-order is different from a special order, in that special order is making something that they don't have. Pre-order is actually making the purchase in full and then having the workshop in Paris produce them in the order that it is received. Previously, pre-orders, you only had to put like 30% down. However, now, at least in the US and at least in the boutiques that I have contacted, they say that you have to put 100% payment down, but that you do lock in that price. So even if there are price increases afterwards, it's not like they ask you for additional. So that's one good thing about it. So anyways, I asked him, okay, so is it possible for me to put an order in? And he said, no, because pre-orders are closed. He said that they have to periodically close pre-orders for the hammered piece in order for Paris to catch up to the production. So I asked him if he knew when pre-orders were gonna open. He said no, that they usually open them up maybe twice a year or so, but you know, it's just like they get so many orders at that time, then they need to like kind of like shut it. So that made me turn to the pre-loved market. However, the hammered 5 motif rarely comes up in the pre-loved market. And when it does, the prices are so high, you would not believe. So yeah, it is just really coveted, especially the hammered 5 motif in yellow gold. This is the one that is really hard to get. The rose gold actually does come up once in a while. I know that, I believe her name is Rashmi, and she does have a YouTube channel. I'm gonna link it down below for you guys, but she actually purchased her pink gold or rose gold 5 motif hammered online. So she says that she was stalking the website and she was really lucky to do it. So they do trickle in once in a while. So I really wasn't finding any in the US. So I do go to my favorite website, which is Rakuten Japan, to see if they had any. And I lucked out because I found one. It came full set with the case and the certificate. At the time, the US dollar was so strong. Buying from Japan was very like, after the conversion, it was very good. And after doing the conversion, the price was, you guys are not gonna believe it, it was $39.80, so just under $4,000, which is unheard of. Because this bracelet at the time, I believe it was like $42.50. I'll look it up and have it down below, but yeah. I thought, oh my gosh, I need to get this now. And so I placed the order, and even with shipping, I did have to pay customs fees, and it was 5% for gold. And so I ended up paying around $4,200 for it, which was still going to leave it under retail. I was really excited. It looked great in the pictures, and in real life, I fell in love. I thought, oh my gosh, this is why people get the hammer, because seeing it in real life is actually, it's a lot more flattering and beautiful than seeing it in pictures or on camera. However, there was an issue. And yeah, that brings me to the reason why I decided that I was gonna sell that piece and get one directly from the boutique. And yeah, you don't hear people talk about this a ton, but then when I did the research on it, yeah, there are a lot of people talking about it. The fact is that the VCA hammered gold, for some reason, the serial number rubs off super easily. And so what happened with the one that I had received, the serial number was so faint. I could tell that within a couple months, maybe, the numbers would not be legible at all. So that got me worried, because I mean, as with anything, like, you want to keep the integrity of the piece and make sure that you're able to say it's authentic, and you never know what happens down the line. I may need to sell the piece, and not having a legible serial number is gonna be an issue. So I looked up information on it online, and I found that actually VCA can re-engrave the serial number onto the piece. However, there are conditions. The conditions are that you have to obviously have the certificate. But in the case of re-engraving serial number, they also require that you have the original receipt, or you have it on your account because you are the purchaser of it. So I got the number of the repair shop of VCA. It's located in New York, and I called them directly, and I spoke to someone directly there. And I said, I have this piece, the serial numbers are almost rubbed off, and is it possible to get it re-engraved? They asked me exactly that, if I had the certificate and if I had the original receipt. I told them that I did not, because I did not purchase it directly from the boutique. And she said, well, you either need the receipt or you need it on the profile. And I asked her about it, and this is what the workshop told me. They said that there are so many good fakes out there that they never risk it, that they can't. And that's why for serial number engraving, they require you to have the original receipt. There you go. So anyways, I thought about it, and to be honest, like, not having a legible serial number, it would bother me. And also, like, for me to use it freely, I would need to know that I can use it without having to worry about checking the serial number to make sure it's still there, you know, that kind of stuff. And I thought this really defeats the purpose for me wanting to get an everyday piece if I need to be concerned about the serial number. So that's when I decided, you know what, I'm gonna sell this and I am just going to purchase it directly from the boutique. So I did sell that bracelet to Fashion File. Fashion File purchased it off of me for $4,500. So I just sold it to them. I knew that if I sold it myself, I could possibly have issues with it down the line. I didn't want the headache of having to deal with any of that, which is why Fashion File was the best choice for me. So I did sell it to them. Just as a side note, guess how much they sold it for, or at least listed it for? Get this, $7,500. Yes. I honestly don't know if it sold for that price. They might have had to mark it down because that's an expensive price. However, I know there are so many people who really want it who are not able to get their hands on it. So who knows, you know, it could have gone for that price, but yeah, just something to think about, right? So all of this happened in May of 2023. I started looking at the Facebook groups a little bit more diligently just to hear like if anybody knew when orders were gonna open up. Finally, in September, I was able to place the order. Now, funny thing, the previous SA that I had been in contact with, he would not reply my text. And I don't know, maybe he quit the company, I don't know, but I had sent him a few texts and he didn't reply. And so I did not want to miss out on this window of orders. And so I found another SA that I was following on Instagram. I just contacted him out of the blue. I had never placed an order before with him. And I told him, hey, I would love to place an order for this. Is it possible? And he said, yes, it was. And that he took my order. He said that it was going to take 3 to 6 months for them to produce it, but that, you know, maximum 6 months was what he was predicting. The thing about ordering something like this with somebody you've never worked with, I definitely feel like in the future, I will use somebody who has like a good relationship with me or has really good references. Getting a recommendation from somebody who you can trust, I feel like is so important in a transaction like this because whenever I messaged him, he always took a long time to reply. So I never knew if he was going to reply like today, tomorrow. And so like I would always have to wait. And sometimes it would be like he wouldn't reply at all. And if there was an urgency to it, I would have probably texted him multiple times. But again, it was just me checking up on the order, so I never did. Yeah, after a while, it got really frustrating. I heard people who placed the order, the same order window as mine, started seeing their pieces come in around, I think November, December is when I saw it the most. And then the following year, again, around like February, March was when I saw people post like, oh, they got their hammered piece finally. And every time like I contacted my SA, like I said, he never said anything, or he said that, nope, no updates, sorry. I think the system is a little bit different abroad in Asia, different countries. In Australia, I know it's a little bit different. I know that they still have like wish lists. So your SA knows what you want and they will contact you if one is available. I also know that some people were actually able to place their pre-order after I did and they still got their piece earlier than I did. Again, I don't know what exactly happened to my order in particular. I forgot to mention. So about like 4 months down the line, since I placed my order, my SA did contact me. And he asked me if I would want a rose gold piece instead because he has a rose gold piece that came in, but the client declined to purchase it and he thought of me because I was on the list. I thought about it, but I really had my heart set on the yellow gold. So I told him no, that my heart was set on the yellow gold and that I was gonna wait it out. And he was like, okay, that's fine. And so it's not like he forgot about me. And around the 1 year mark, I was like, oh my gosh, this is ridiculous. So instead of sending a message, I called him and the first thing he says to me is, oh my gosh, never again. I am never ever taking an order for a hammered 5 motif ever again because it is excruciating for him as well. At least that's what he said. Yeah, he told me that he had 2 other clients that were waiting for their pieces, but that he has not seen any come in through their boutique. And this boutique is in Las Vegas. for the longest time. To be quite honest, I don't know if I believe him completely, and it might be just me being really, really skeptical, but like Las Vegas is a very, very high trafficked boutique, which it's one of the reasons why I chose that one to place the order from, because I figured, you know, they would get more stock in than say something out in another rural area, right? So anyways, he told me that no, he had not seen it for a very long time, and he apologized again. He was very nice whenever I talked to him. So he said that absolutely nothing he could do except wait and see when the next shipment comes in. So I did after that. I probably checked up maybe once every 1 or 2 months. Every time he either didn't reply or just said, I'm sorry, no. And then he said, but I would be happy to refund you your money if that's what you want me to do. To be quite frank, I really was sick of waiting. However, I knew I really, really wanted the bracelet, number one. And number two, I think I beat a couple of price increases. So it was like, ugh, if I had to go through this again, I would just end up paying more for the same bracelet. And so I thought, I've waited this long, it's been over a year. I mean, what's a little bit more waiting? And so I decided just to hang tight. As long as they have not forgotten this order, I'm okay, right? Waited. And then this whole thing with Mango Monica happened. VCA was slammed in social media about their customer service and what happened with this influencer. And around this time, I saw somebody post in a Facebook group that she had just gotten her hammered and she had waited like about a year or so, and she had finally gotten hers. And so I decided I'm gonna DM this person, and I contacted them and I asked, hey, I've been waiting for mine for the longest time. Can I just ask where your boutique is? And she was really, really nice. She told me that she actually purchased it from the Beverly Hills store. But then she also said something interesting. She said her SA was able to look her order up in her system, and basically it would show like what it was. Changed to something like in production, and then she got hers like 2 or 3 months after that. So I was like, huh, that's interesting. My essay said that there's no way to find out what's going on. I decided, you know what, I'm gonna call him and just really put my foot down and have him like do something about it, right? So I did call him. He said he was with a client that he would call me back in about an hour. And I said, that's fine. So when he did call, I said, hey, I just wanted to know what was going on. Gave me the same spiel, like he's really sorry, he hasn't seen them come in. They must still be catching up to production. And I said, you know what, it's been almost 2 years. This is kind of getting out of hand. I just want to make sure that my order is still registering. So then I told him, I have a friend, her essay was able to see the status, and once the status changed to in production, she got it soon after. And I said, can you check my order and see what the status is showing as? He asked me, which store did your friend purchase from? And I said, she purchased from the Beverly Hills store. That's when I heard another voice pop in next to his. And it was a female voice, and she apparently asked him something. And he was like, well, you know, my client, she's been waiting for her bracelet for the longest time. And he told me that that was his manager. They were like talking to each other with me, you know, just like holding. I didn't hear what they were saying, but they were discussing it. And then he came back on the line and his attitude changed a little bit. And he said, my manager and I will check up on this, because this is taking way too long. It shouldn't have taken this long, and I will get back to you. Huh. It makes me wonder whether or not he checked up as much as he could have. I think when I talked to him a few months before and asked if his manager could do anything, I should have asked to speak to the manager directly at that point, and I didn't, and I regret not doing that because I feel like it could have moved things faster. He texts me in less than an hour and he says, we have news. The next one out of production is yours, and we will try to expedite it even further. Thank you so much for your patience. I really appreciate it. And a week and a half later, I had my bracelet. Yes. So was I dumb for waiting that long without doing anything? You know what? I probably was. I probably should have pushed it a little bit further. But I mean, I heard so many people say that they had to wait over a year to get their bracelet, the hammered yellow gold 5 motif. I just assumed mine was one of those. And when I had asked him about, you know, escalating it, speaking to management, speaking to Paris directly, he always said there was nothing he could do. Call me gullible, whatever, but I did take his word completely for it. Also, I really did not want to ruffle feathers. I know SAs have a hard time with demanding clients, and so if I knew him personally or like even spoke to him face to face at even one time, or you know what I mean, like I don't know this person, and so that's what made it really, really difficult. And in any case, really need to advocate for yourself. So if I had to do it over again, would I? The answer is 1000% yes. I know, I'm dumb, right? I love this bracelet. I really wanted it. And you know, the security of knowing that whatever happens to it, it's under my profile. VCA will take care of me as long as I am the original purchaser. So I do feel more content that I purchased it through the boutique, and I have that knowledge that it is completely authentic, never going to be a question. So it's just having that security I'm really, really happy with. There is another Storytime video that I owe you guys. It's regarding the chalcedony and a little bit of drama regarding that as well. These videos take so long to film and to edit that's why it's been so hard for me to do. But I promise to do that for you guys as soon as I find enough time to do it. But yeah, there is a story, and that might kind of help you understand why I feel like for Van Cleef & Arpels, why purchasing from the boutique, or if you are going to purchase pre-loved, which I'm not against purchasing pre-loved. I think you can find excellent deals on pre-loved. But I would never buy a Van Cleef & Arpels piece that did not come with a certificate. And even with the certificate, like I said, like some repairs, like the re-engraving, you cannot do. So I would always try to get the receipt as well. I think like if you purchase from Facebook groups, you know, you can request to have a redacted receipt to the seller directly. But yeah, I think it's really important to try to get that if you can. But yeah, I would definitely go through the whole process again if I had to. I would be a little bit more firm about waiting. I mean, I did contact my SA continuously. But yeah, I think like definitely would have escalated it a little quicker. But in the end, I'm happy that I was able to get it. And yeah, I hope that this doesn't deter you guys from trying to order it. So I do know that pre-orders are not open right now, currently in the US. I actually have heard of people say that they've seen it trickle into their boutiques more this year, and it could be that they've caught up to production quite a bit. It never hurts to ask your boutique and let them know that you want to know when you're able to place a pre-order, if that's the route you want to go. Anyways, I hope this helps. If you have any questions, let me know them in the comment section below. Yeah, this whole ordeal, oh my gosh, but I do love this piece. I'm absolutely satisfied, and yeah, I think this is a forever piece. So that is it, you guys. This is such a long video. I'm gonna have such a hard time editing everything down, but yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to leave me a thumbs up. And if you enjoy this kind of content, then please consider subscribing to my channel. I don't post regularly, but I try to upload as much as I can. And I think that's it. I hope you guys all have a wonderful week, and I will see you in my next one. Take care, everybody.